Okay. Hey, everybody. Spidey Librarian here, and welcome to episode 4 of the Spidey Librarian Action Hour. How are you guys doing this evening? It is always good to see you and hear from you. And let me just go ahead and get us going. I need to make a couple of quick adjustments because of course, I'm never as prepared for this as I want to be. But you know, hey, 4th episode, we're still learning, and it's all good. So I'm gonna take a second and I'm not using a script, but I am using kind of like a bulleted script, so that way, I can basically kind of not. I don't have to memorize lines. I just have to memorize what I need to say. It's easier for me, it's probably less cringe for you, and I think it works out best for everyone. So I'm gonna load that up and then we are gonna get going. So anyways, all right, there it is, and here we go. So all right, let's see, and hail to the geeks, welcome to the chat. She is doing not bad. Nearly missed this because she's spaced out reading. I mean, there are worse excuses to have. That is a-okay. So, anyways, let me go ahead. I'm going to put. Sorry, that popping you hear is not my. It's not my joints. It's actually the joints of an extension arm that I use to hold my phone. So, anyways, let's see. All right, so. Welcome to the Spidey Librarian Action Hour, the show where I, a reference librarian and pop culture geek, attempt to educate and entertain you with various segments and tidbits from the realms of librarianship, technology, video games, superheroes, scary movies, popular culture, and whatever else I happen to be interested in. So, I just want to say, as always, thanks for being here. I really appreciate the support. One of the best ways that you can show support for me is to go ahead and thwip on that like button. And if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, because that is always a good way to know not only when the show goes live, but whenever I do any uploads or anything like that. So it's a great way to kind of keep in touch. And, I'm trying to form a community here. So hopefully we can get that on track soon. All right. Let me see. I want to let you know, hold on. Some things are scripted and some things are bullet pointed. So yeah, it's always a with me. So, all right. So I've got a pretty good show for you tonight. We are going to, for the DLC, Discover, Learn, Create, we're going to revisit Bitwarden and talk about a couple of the features that I kind of wanted to get to during the first video, but I wasn't as prepared as I wanted to be, so we're going to cover those tonight. And that's going to include the Bitwarden extension, and also how to import a lot of your passwords, maybe your pre-existing vaults from, say, another browser or another password manager into Bitwarden. So those are two very useful things to know when we are talking about Bitwarden. And many other password managers have like similar functions and features built into them. So if you don't want to use Bitwarden, say you want to use LastPass or Dashlane or something else, there are methods for basically doing these things, not just on Bitwarden, but the others as well. And they're roughly similar, but you might have to search them out yourself and then go figure them out. So, but you'll be able to see my process for Bitwarden, and then you'll probably more or less be able to recreate the process or another password manager if that's your cup of tea. So, as always, following that, we'll be doing the pop culture roundup, where I talk about the big headlines from the last week or so, and then stuff mainly to do with Star Wars, video games, the MCU, Spider-Man, Ghostbusters, things like that. So we'll cover that. After we do the pop culture roundup, we'll do a deep dive into the pop culture deep dive. This week's topic is going to be about video games. My video games that I really enjoy, that I can never seem to complete, and that I am probably never going to walk away from either. Like, they keep me playing them, even though I can't beat them, and we'll talk about why in that segment. Finally, we'll do the best segment. We're going to do the segment that's powered by you, the viewer. That's going to be the viewer Q&A. So I don't know if you guys saw the thumbnail for this week's episode, but I took some pictures of me attempting to fight Kraven the Hunter. And I basically kind of superimposed myself over Venom in a picture where Kraven is attacking Venom. And then one of my buddies took a look at that and said, I can do better, and basically sent me, I sent him the files that he needed, and he sent me back a much better version of that. And that section of the thumbnail is, of course, inspired by one of the questions that you guys asked me during the last episode from 2 weeks ago. And that was just basically, which MCU character would you put in the MCU who is not there already? I answered Kraven the Hunter, so that is why that particular thumbnail exists. So you never know. If you ask me a memorable question, then it might get featured on the thumbnail for the next episode. Hey, and if you're really lucky, I might make a video about me, answering that question. So we'll just have to see. So bring your questions, come armed with them, and we'll talk about them during the last section of the show. And I would also like to just let you guys know, we are going to, I said earlier, we are trying to form a community here. And one of the ways that I am attempting to do that is I am trying to I'm trying to grow my my Discord channel. So I am going to take a second and put the put the URL for an invite to my Discord channel into the chat. And if you guys need to see it later, just ask and I'll put it in there again. One of the things I'm going to do in the near future is I'm going to actually work on a bot and get that running the chats for me, so that way I can more easily just kind of put the, I can just put in like exclamation point Discord, and it'll give you guys like an invite link in the chat or something like that. And it's something that I think moderators will be able to do as well. And I can already tell I need to raise my chair. Sorry about that. And Wolf, hey Wolf, how you doing? Wolf is noticing that Trouble is in the background, like she always is. So I think Trouble is a little bit mad at me because, as you guys probably know, I'm really good at procrastinating, and I was doing a lot of last-minute stuff for the show, and she was coming up to me and meowing at me, and she was wanting attention, and I just couldn't do it. And I'm like, sweetie, you need to stop it. And she wouldn't stop it. And I'm like, go away. And I think she went away, and that's why until just a few seconds ago, she was probably, she was being all silent, but she was turned away from me because I'm not talking to you. Maybe I'll go and for a pet and see if she is okay with it. Hold on a second. See if she's forgiven me yet. Okay. All right. Well, at the very least, she is accepting the she's accepting the snuggles without being, too much of having too much of an attitude about it. So, all right. So, anyways, I think that pretty much gives you an idea of what we are going to be doing tonight. So, if you're down for that, stick around, and we're going to get ready, starting with segment 1, the Discover, Learn, Create segment about Bitwarden. So, let me go ahead. We're going to just go ahead and get right into it. Hail to the Geek says she is accepting her due tribute. Well, of course, Her Majesty is accepting, And I was holding out on her, so. All right, so, anyways. I think we're doing okay here. Let's see. All right, so You guys that are here, hopefully you are aware of the process. We are essentially making a YouTube video. And so the video should be short and impactful. I'm really good at screwing up, and I'll probably have to do several takes each time. So it's going to be a longer shoot than it will be an eventual video, but I will edit it down, and hopefully it will live on the channel soon. So as always, participate however you want. You can heckle me, you can be supportive, you can make suggestions and things like that. I can't guarantee you that I'm going to necessarily respond to what you say in real time, but I will definitely keep it in mind as I'm trying to shoot, and we'll go on from there. I should also point out that the Bitwarden video that I made 2 weeks ago, I'm still going to be uploading it. I've actually finished editing it. I just haven't put it up on the channel yet. It was exceptionally difficult to edit. It was one of my more awkward videos, and I think the big problem there was that I had mostly done it unscripted. I did not do a lot of takes in places that I should have. I would just do like one take and then go on, and then there would be like a sound issue with that take. So hopefully that will not be the case going forward. I'm going to try to be more mindful of that, but I think that's kind of why I'm reworking scripts back in, except they're more bulleted so that I can remember what section I'm at and go, okay, now I can just talk about it instead of having to try to enslave myself to remember lines. So anyways, let's see. Remember that the end goal here is to make an educational video for the YouTube channel, and yeah, we're gonna go ahead and we are going to get started right now. So here we go. Hey everybody. Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do the hey everybody thing. I want to do the actually I don't even know if I want to do the whip. For these educational segments, I just want to get right into it, and my script is not reflecting that. So let me go ahead and just see. Let's see. Okay. All right. So I'm going to rework it a little bit, but basically the point of this is that we are going to be doing. We're talking about Bitwarden. We're talking about the Bitwarden extension. And we're talking about importing your files. So that's what the video is going to be about. I'm going to try to do an intro line where I talk about that and hopefully do it in just 1 or 2 takes. And we're going to try to end it with, and we're going to do this right now. Okay. So, all right, here we go. And I'll start with the thwip. I don't know if I'm going to include this in the educational. I don't know. So, all right. And Apis Ben Senin is back in the chat. Hey, wants to know what kind of shirt I'm wearing? Well, it is a Spider-Man pop shirt, and I'll revisit that more during the last segment, the viewer Q&A. We can talk a little bit more about it if there aren't any other further questions. But yeah, it's just a Spider-Man Funko Pop t-shirt, and I'll stand and show it during the viewer Q&A of the segment. I'll come back to this question then. So, all right, so let's see. Here we go. Bitwarden is a very good password manager that has a lot of good features. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about importing your passwords from another browser or password manager into Bitwarden, and show you how to use the Bitwarden extension right now. Was that good? Was that good? Let me know. And really, I mean, anything is could be a possible reason for me to reshoot the scene if I wasn't looking at the camera enough. Like if I look away during the last moments, I tend to do that a lot. If the sound drops at any point, if I just looked awkward doing it, if You know, if trouble was making obscene gestures behind me. I mean, these are things that I need to know. You know, so this is where I need you guys to participate the most. So, all right. Anyways, we're gonna go on, and hopefully there is not anything too problematic. So, all right. So this part. Okay, for this part, this is the why it's important part. So, um, let's see. I'm probably going to try to find some kind of a graphic to make for this part. So it's probably just going to be me doing, like, you'll be hearing me, but I'll probably have like a motion graphic or something that I create for this part. So I'm just gonna talk, and hopefully it will not be too awkward. But that's why we do this. So here we go. Okay. The Bitwarden extension allows you to, sorry, the Bitwarden extension works with your browser, so that way, Mumblemouth Spidey Librarian tonight. So, all right, okay. The Bitwarden extension works with your browser to allow Bitwarden to remember your passwords while you're browsing the internet. Importing files is important if you already have an existing vault of files but would like to move them to Bitwarden. Okay, hold on. And again, this one is just from a sound perspective. So if I drop sound, that's the most important thing for this part here. So we talked about those two things, and then we're gonna do it again, just see how it goes. So, all right. The Bitwarden extension works with your browser to allow Bitwarden to assist you with memorizing your passwords while you're browsing the web. Importing functions allow you to bring an existing vault of passwords for your various accounts over to Bitwarden from a browser or another password manager. Both functions are vital to using Bitwarden. All right, and I think that sounds okay from my end. You guys let me know. That's going to be the, you know, like, if I drop sound, there's not much I can do about it. When you guys see the first Bitwarden video, because I'm gonna probably upload that tonight, and when you guys see it, there's gonna be at least one section where you can hear me drop in volume, like it just cuts me off. And it's not for very long, but it's like a very kind of important term that I was like, I think it was during when I was saying password manager, and all you hear is password, and that's it. And yeah, like, we definitely don't want that. So, okay, let's see. All right, the next is going to be the call to action, where we talk about the, well, I do a quick ask for this part. So, all right, here we go. Okay. Now, before we get started, I'm creating content. No, I'm creating educational. Okay. Before we get started, I am continuing to create educational. Before we get started, I'm creating educational content. I'm continuing to create it. Before we get started, I'm continuing to create educational content for this channel. I forgot the rest. Okay. Right, if you have suggestions for it. Okay. Before we get started, I'm continuing to create educational content for this channel. If you have a suggestion for a topic for a video, please go ahead and sound off in the comments. Try that one more time. All right. Before we get started, I'm continuing to create educational content for this channel. If you have a suggestion for a topic for a video, if you have a suggestion for a video topic, there we go. If you have a suggestion for a video topic, go ahead and sound off in the comments. I would love to hear from you. All right. And I think, okay. All right, so there we go. Okay. Actually, I think in addition, I'm going to ask for my like and subscribe right here as well. So give me a second and I'll pop that in. That way we just get them out of the way and then we can just start educating. So, let me see. Also, if you're enjoying this content, go ahead and thwip on the like button. It really helps me out by letting me know that you're enjoying this kind of content and would like to see more of it. Also, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. That way you'll know whenever more educational content comes out and whenever I go live. Okay. All right. Hopefully that sounded good. If you guys could let me know, it is always very, very helpful. Let me see. Okay. So the next part, let me see. I don't know. Sometimes I go and back to it. I'll go ahead and do that just to, I don't know. I don't know how desirable that really is, but I'm going to just go ahead and do it just in case. And I can always take it out if it's not that good. And back to it. And I'm going to go ahead and do it the other way. So, and back to it. I don't know. The thwip right there just seems kind of weird. So, and back to it. I don't know. Back to it. I don't know. I need suggestions, guys. All right. So now this is where we get into the meat and potatoes of things. So I'm going to take a second. I need to add a source because I don't have a video capture for the... I don't have a video capture for the second monitor up yet. 1 second. And we're going to get that going. So, let's see. And I think what I'm going to do first is we're going to talk about the browser extension and how that works and how Mr. Samuel Spade can use the browser extension to, you know, basically have it remember his passwords kind of on the fly, which is really nice. So, all right, so give me a second. We're going to add video capture. We're going to add, no, not a video capture device. I was wrong. I screwed up. Need the display capture. There we go. Never remember the simplest thing. All right, so there that is. And I'm going to put it underneath the web. And I think, I think anyways, I need to extend it because it's a smaller monitor than the resolution that, that OBS has. So, all right. So, isn't it pretty? Isn't it such a mess that I have? This is because I had to get a new monitor recently, and I just have not had a chance to clean it up. And frankly, I'm not that interested in doing it. So, anyways, let me see. I think if I do this, that way it's just kind of all off to one side, and I won't. Okay, and of course I choose now to do that while we're on. So, okay, so I think for the extension we're going to have to use Firefox here because I've already installed the extension on Microsoft Edge, what is what Mr. Samuel Spade uses most of the time. But for this purpose, we're going to go ahead and just get ready on Firefox and import it in that way. So I'm going to do my best to kind of narrate the process. So if you guys have any suggestions while I'm doing this, please let me know. But in the meantime, we're just going to get going and see how this all works. So here we go. All right. So in order to get your extensions going for Bitwarden, what you're first going to want to do, I'm going to re-edit that, or I'm going to re-speak that. All right. So in order to get your Bitwarden extension, what I would recommend is you log into Bitwarden with your username and password. And did I give it the wrong password? I don't remember. Yep, I gave it the wrong password. All right, hold on. There we go. Okay. Once you're logged into Bitwarden, what I would recommend is do a search for the Bitwarden extension for the browser that you're using. So I'm going to go into Firefox's address bar and I'm going to type in a search for Bitwarden extension and then Firefox. It's one of the first options. And when you do that, you will get, excuse me. And when you do that, you will get a list of results that should hopefully, and when you do that, you should get a list of results that will hopefully have the most relevant option at the top. In this case, we know that Firefox is going to use extensions from the Mozilla store. And since the first result has mozilla.org, and since the first result has mozilla.org at the top of the search results, we know that this is the right location to get a browser for Firefox. We know that this, hold on. And since this top result has mozilla.org in the, wow, I can't. Sorry guys. We're just gonna keep rolling with it. Okay. And since this top result has mozilla.org, we know that this is the right location to get a browser for Firefox. So we're going to go ahead and click on the first result here. And we can see that this is the Bitwarden extension. It's by Bitwarden Inc. So we're going to go ahead and click Add to Firefox. And I believe you should be able to see the little pop-up menus that come up this time. So, all right. And at this point, it will ask you if you would like to add this extension to Firefox. We're going to go ahead and click Add. And when you do that, it should tell you that Bitwarden has successfully installed this extension. It wants to, you just basically say, okay, it's telling you that the extension was added over here. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. And once you have this extension up, you will see a little Bitwarden, oh boy, sorry. All right. And once you have this extension added, you will see a little Bitwarden symbol in the upper right-hand corner of the browser, just to the right of the search bar. What happens is when you, hold on, what happens sounds very awkward here. All right. So give me a second. We're going to go ahead and close this out. It's not a bad idea to watch the quick start guide because they do explain how the extension works. I'm also going to explain it a little further here. You can see that even though I'm now on a new window, the extension is still in the upper right-hand corner. Now, the way the extension is very helpful is let's go ahead and go to Goodreads. I have started a Goodreads account for Mr. Samuel Spade, and we're going to go ahead and log him in. Now, we want to go ahead and use the sign in option when we get to Goodreads, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And now what we're going to do is we are going to, because it's asking for the email address and the password, what we're going to do is use the Bitwarden extension instead of trying to enter in all that information. Now, the first time that you use the Bitwarden extension, it's going to ask you to log in. So, like I'd said in previous videos, you need to remember your master password for Bitwarden. This is the only password that you should need to remember. So we're going to go ahead and put in Mr. Samuel Spade's email address, which is samuelspade92@gmail.com. And then we're going to go ahead and put in his master password. And now we can see that I added a Goodreads login to Bitwarden on behalf of Mr. Spade here. So we're going to go ahead and just click it. That's not exactly what I wanted to happen. Okay. All right, hold on one second. Okay. All right. Now that we're logged in, we can see that the Bitwarden icon up here is blue. So we're going to go ahead and click on it. And that means that it knows that there is a login that it can help you with here. So we're going to go ahead and click on Goodreads, and it puts in the email address. It puts in the password that I had set up. And then when you click sign in, and this is the browser offering to save passwords, I don't need it because I have Bitwarden, or Mr. Samuel Spade has Bitwarden. So it's a very useful little thing to have. And as you can see, all you have to know once you have it installed is your Bitwarden master password. All right. And at this point, let's see, I'm going to play catch up. Oh, hey, Diablo's here. How you doing, man? Good to see you. What are we learning today? I am talking about more Bitwarden. I'm talking about the Bitwarden extension, and I'm also talking about the method for importing your passwords from another vault into Bitwarden so that other people can use that service if they've already got a bunch of passwords built up. It also keeps you from having to manually add all of your account informations, and that's not fun. That's not fun at all. So in any case, there we go. We've got Mr. Samuel Spade set up in Bitwarden on Firefox. I didn't do it on Microsoft Edge because I already had the extension installed on Microsoft Edge and just felt like I should do it from scratch for Firefox. But for the import part of the video, we are going to go to Microsoft Edge here. And let's see. Okay, so let's see. All right, I believe what we're going to do here is we're actually going to import some of the save data from Firefox. Now, I think there are some passwords on there that are not in Bitwarden. I don't remember. Anyways, let's talk about that from the search. So, all right. Okay. So let me think. I'm trying to think of how to phrase this part. How does everything sound so far, guys? Like, is it sounding okay? Am I getting dropped anywhere? I again, really, it really helps if you guys can keep a good ear out for that, because if it ever drops part of a word, then I simply need to do that take again. So, all right. So, in order to import your password vault from either another password manager or another browser into Bitwarden, there is a process for each browser in order to do that. For the excuse me. For the purposes of this video, we are going to attempt to import passwords from, For the purposes of this video, we are going to attempt to import passwords from Firefox into Bitwarden on Microsoft Edge. Sorry. For the purposes of this video, we are going to attempt to import passwords from Firefox into Bitwarden as it's running on Microsoft Edge. You can begin with a search for import passwords to Bitwarden, and if you want to get more specific, you can even say import passwords to Bitwarden from whichever extension you would like, or from whichever browser or password source you would like to name. So I'm going to go ahead and put in import passwords to Bitwarden from Firefox. And then it will have an article on bitwarden.com. And if you take a look on Bitwarden, you can see that there are, under the import and export section, under the import and export section on the sidebar, you can see that you can import from LastPass, you can import from Dashlane, 1Password, Google Chrome, Firefox. Bitwarden has a lot of options set up for a lot of popular browsers and password managers. And there is a step-by-step process. Excuse me. And I'm going to need some water here. Hold on. And as you can see, Bitwarden has a step-by-step process that you can use to create the passwords to export from your source and then to import it into Bitwarden. So we're going to go to Firefox, and step 1 is, using the address bar, navigate to About Logins. So we're going to bring up Firefox again, and at this point I'm going to go ahead and put in About Logins, and then I believe, let's see, we're going to export these. I believe that is the second step. And before I actually do it, I'm just going to verify that. Yes, we select the 3 dots and then export logins from the drop-down. Then we are going to save the CSV to a specific location, and then it will export it. So as we can see from Firefox, we have a login for eBay. Mr. Samuel Spade has decided that in addition to being a private eye, he wants to he wants to try to import and export, rare artifacts, and he's trying to get them off of eBay. So we put the eBay into, hold on. So when I created the eBay account, I made sure to let Firefox save that information, and I don't believe I saved it into Bitwarden. We're going to correct that now. So we're going to go ahead and click on the 3 dots. We're going to export the logins. And then you should be seeing a little kind of warning right here that's saying, yeah, you're creating a readable file, so anyone can open this file. So we're going to go ahead and export it anyways. And it's telling me that I need to put in my Windows login. It's being extra secure right here, which is a very good thing. And now, let's see, it's going to go into my Documents folder, and it's going to be called Logins. So we're going to go ahead and save the CSV file right here. Once we've got that file saved, what they advise you do is, after you import that CSV file, they recommend that you delete that file off of your computer, so that way if your computer ever becomes compromised, no one will be able to see those passwords. So that is always a good piece of advice to follow. All right, we're going to go back to Microsoft Edge, and we're going to follow the rest of the Bitwarden import process here. So we're coming back to Edge. We're going to follow the rest of the Bitwarden import process, and I think the first thing we need to do is log into Bitwarden on Microsoft Edge. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, it knows who I am. I do have the browser saving this password. I don't normally recommend that, so please don't do that. Remember this 1Password. This is just in case I don't do a video with Samuel Spade for like 3 months and then I come back to it and I've forgotten it. So as we can see, Samuel Spade's Vault has his login for Goodreads, and it has his Google account login already in there. One thing we don't see is the eBay login. So what we want to do now is we're going to go back to here, And in the web vault, select Tools from the top navigation bar. So we're going to go ahead and select the Tools option right here. And then coming back, it wants us to select Import Data from the left-hand Tools menu, and then from the drop-down format, choose Firefox. So we're going to go ahead and select Import Data. And then the format is Firefox, CSV. And then let's go ahead and see what the next step is. Select the Choose File option and add the file to import or copy paste the contents of your file to the input box. In this case, we are going to choose the file. It should be in our Documents folder, and it should be the one called Logins right here. So we're going to go ahead and open it. And let's see, there it is right there. Okay. And now, at this point, you select the Import Data button, and that should complete it. Step 6 says, after successful import, delete the import source from your computer. This will protect you in the event that your computer is compromised. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to go ahead and click Import Data. And as you can see now, the eBay data has made it onto here. Now, if I'd had multiple account logins set up under Firefox, they would have also been included here. This is a very useful process, so that way you don't have to manually input the login information for every single account you have out there. All right, and I think, and then again, to practice, to practice good, hold on. We're going to go here, we're going to go to Documents, and we are going to go to Logins. And again, I'm going to delete that. And then later tonight, I'm just going to go ahead and empty the trash. We're not going to bother with it right now. But once you've done that, all of the account information you had in those sources will be imported into your Bitwarden vault. So if you've got them existing in another browser or another password manager, then go ahead and import them so you don't have to put them in manually. I think I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and bring the webcam up, and I'm basically going to repeat that, so because I think, you know, that part is worth you guys looking at my ugly mug while I say it. So okay, so once you've imported it, okay, once you've done the import, every account username and password will be imported into your Bitwarden vault from the original source. So if you have multiple account informations in a browser or a password manager, that will import all of them into Bitwarden so that you do not have to manually input every single account, login, and password that you have ever made. You can do it all in one fairly simple process. It's not the easiest in the world, but it's also definitely not the most complex, and it's worth knowing. It will save you so much time and so much frustration. I highly recommend highly recommend importing your, what is it, your password vault? We'll call it the password. I highly recommend importing your password vault into Bitwarden. Okay. All right, guys. How are we doing? How am I sounding? How are we looking? I actually feel like I'm making pretty good time. Like, I know we've been recording for like 30 minutes, but the other one took me like 50, so I think we're doing okay so far. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do the once I do the, we're basically gonna do a wrap up, and I think I'm going to reiterate some of the calls to action, like the like or the subscribe thingy. So we're hopefully going to do that fairly quickly, and then we'll go ahead and hopefully be done with this section, and then we can move on to the other stuff. Yay! So Anyways, all right, so wrapping up. Excuse me. All right. The Bitwarden extension and the features. It's a feature that you can use with multiple. All right. The Bitwarden extension and import process are wonderful tools that will allow you to save a lot of time, energy, and frustration when working with Bitwarden. Very convenient, it's very secure as long as you remember your master password. All right. Let me see. If you enjoyed this, leave a like. We'll go ahead and do that. So, all right. If you got any value or enjoyment out of this video, go ahead and thwip on the like button. It really helps me out and lets me know that you enjoyed this kind of content and would like to see more. Also, if you subscribe, you'll not only see when more of these videos drop, but also whenever I go live or any of my other videos. Let me try that again. Also, if you subscribe, you'll know when these videos go live. Uploaded? Okay. Also, if you subscribe, you'll know whenever I go live and whenever any of these videos. That's it. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna do the have a good day outro for these. So, all right, guys. I would like a quick assessment from you if this looks okay. Otherwise, I'm gonna hit stop on the record button. So, if I can get some feedback from some people, did everything seem to be okay? Were there any sound drops? Did I just really screw the pooch on my delivery in a certain section? Tell me, because I need to know. Otherwise, once I hit the stop record, I'd rather not have to restart for the same section again. So, but yeah, after this, we're gonna move on to the pop culture roundup, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. We got like 2 weeks worth of roundup to catch up on, but I'm only doing a few things, so it should be fairly quick. All right. Okay, Hail to the Geeks says that it's all good to her, so awesome, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and hit the stop record button. And we're going to move on to the pop culture roundup. So give me 1 second. We're going to go ahead and get. How does that look? Yeah, no, it's okay. Might want to move over here for it. So that way I'm not like right up in Tom Holland's business, you know? So, all right. I don't know if you guys know, but I actually had my picture taken with Tom. Some of you guys know this, but some of you may not. I actually do have a picture of myself with Tom Holland. Like I've actually met him, shaken his hand, and you know, like we did the spider hands while we did. Hold on, I'll go get it. It's right over here. So. Now, for the record, I look like a complete and total dork in this picture, but that is me, and that is Tom Holland right there. And this was from Comic Palooza, probably about, I don't know, 3 years ago. It was right after Infinity War had come out and before Endgame. So that would have been in 2018. Yeah, it would have been like April or May 2018. So that was about, it was almost 4 years ago. So, wow. Time flies when you're having fun. So, hold on a moment. Okay. All right. Anyways. Okay, so for this portion, I'm going to try to move over here. All right. And I think we're okay. So let's just go ahead and We're going to hit the record button again. All right. I thought you went to see him in your homemade Spidey costume. Am I completely wrong? I wasn't wearing the whole costume. I was just wearing. I was wearing this actually. I was wearing this, and not the same gloves, but I'd created them like I'd painted on some red weightlifting gloves. Other than that, I was just wearing jeans and a t-shirt. So Spidey fan, but no costume. So, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and hit the record button. Right, and we're gonna go ahead and start the pop culture deep dive. So there has been about 2 weeks worth of headlines to kind of sift through. I decided rather than try to sift through all of it, I was just going to kind of remember the most exciting stuff over the last couple of weeks. And so we're just going to go ahead and start with, the stuff that is exciting. So give me 1 second. I want to bring up the script so that way I can match the pictures to the right words. So, all right. And, oh, wow. Hold on. Got the wrong file. Okay. Okay. There it is. Okay, all right. It's wrong too. My goodness. Oh my god. What did I wrong? Hold on a sec. Let's see. Make sure, because somewhere I've got the right. I just don't know where it is because apparently I can't do it. Give me 1 second, fella. No script for episode. I mean, I was working on a file for this. That's how I know this exists. Of course. Yeah, everything that I'm finding is basically giving me the wrong options. So may have to. There it is. Okay, it was in the wrong folder. I did everything backwards. Oh well, it's not the first time, and it probably won't be the last. All right. So with that said, now that I know where it is in the browser, find it on my phone real. There we go. Okay, that will make things a lot less awkward. So, all right, let's see. I wore that costume to a panel that I led at the con. Oh yeah, no, I totally did do that. She says authoritatively. Yes, no, you're right. I really like that costume. Although at this point, I think a lot of people, I think they were just getting tired of seeing me in that costume. Which, to be fair, it's not the best costume in the world, but it's it's fun to wear. So, all right. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get started on the pop culture roundup for November 28th, 2021, and let's see. We are going to go ahead and get a start with the runtime for Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, the runtime has been making the rounds in the last week or so. And at first, we had heard that the runtime of Spider-Man No Way Home was going to be 2 hours and 39 minutes, which would have made it among the longest MCU films. It looks like that has now been revised. It's going to be 200. It's going to be, sorry, say 228 minutes. That's really long. It's like 4 hours. I think it's 2 hours and 28 minutes. Yeah, 239 minutes. That's a 4 hour movie. There's no way it's that long. Okay, all right. Yeah, sorry guys. So the runtime for Spider-Man No Way Home was 2 hours and 39 minutes. Now it's 2 hours and 28 minutes. That still makes it the fourth longest film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And as you probably know, excitement for this film is building and reaching a fever pitch. This may be one of the most highly anticipated Spider-Man movies ever. And one of the most highly anticipated Marvel Cinematic Universe movies ever. All right. And moving on. Hold on. There it is. There's the controls. All right. And along those lines, one big concern that a lot of fans of Spider-Man are having as the premiere date nears is spoilers from leaks from the movie. I'm of the opinion that if you have already managed to avoid spoilers, you're probably fine. And if you've been listening to a lot of the spoilers just from the leaks or anything, I mean, you're already neck deep in it. So it's kind of one of those things where you are, it's either you have seen it all or you haven't seen anything. You've gone silent on Twitter. You have turned off your Google alerts and everything. Like, it's just kind of one of those things where I know that as we get closer, there are some critics who are not going to be able to, keep their, they're not going to be able to keep their secrets. They're like mini Tom Hollands in a way. But, there are a lot of good critics out there who are like, yeah, no, I'm only going to tell you certain things, and then you have insiders who are feeding us information that, fans are asking for. So the way I see it, if you're concerned about spoilers, get off the internet. And I know that's not practical, but it's kind of the only thing you can do at this point. So it's just kind of you're either neck deep in it or you're already skilled enough to avoid them. All right. And moving on from the realm of Spider-Man, we have started seeing trailers for the book of Boba Fett, which I gotta say, first of all, I actually have not watched this trailer yet. I've watched the teaser trailer, which was so good. But it's just funny because people are talking about how Boba Fett is going to return to a life of crime. The interesting thing to me is, and I think Hail to the Geeks will back me up on this, is that Boba Fett appears to be doing in the book of Boba Fett what Talon Card was doing in the Heir to the Empire books. And I really kind of wish that they would just use the character of Talon Card. With that said, this looks like it's going to be fun. It looks like it's going to kind of take a deep dive into the underworld of Star Wars. I wonder if we'll meet Prince Shizor? That'd be pretty cool, I think. And maybe we'll even see Talon Card. I hope so. I really think that Timothy Zahn created 3 really good characters for the Star Wars universe. He created Grand Admiral Thrawn, Mara Jade, who eventually became Mara Jade Skywalker in Star Wars Legends, and Talon frickin' Card. Talon Card was like, Han Solo was kind of like the smuggler with a heart of gold, like that kind of trope. Talon Card took that and just like ran it to the nth degree. I really like the character, and frankly, I mean, they should just use the character and make Robert Downey Jr. play him. It would be perfect. Anyways, looking forward to the Book of Boba Fett. Ming-Na Wen is going to be in it as Fennec Shand, and I can't wait to see that. I'm not even going to lie. I've got a total celebrity crush on Ming-Na Wen. And, I mean, she's, in her late 80s? I don't care. Okay? Totally love her. So, all right. Let's move on from Star Wars to back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, I have watched episodes 1 and 2 of Hawkeye. It premiered on Wednesday. Again, I mean, these Disney Plus Marvel shows, I love them. They're a lot of fun. I love the references. I love the look of this, and I love the feel of Hawkeye. I've seen some critics calling it Kate Bishop Begins, which I think is very appropriate because we're seeing her origin. And obviously her MCU origin is going to differ from the comic book origin. And I think if you're going to bring Kate Bishop into the MCU, the David Aja, Matt Fraction, Hawkeye story is probably your best way to actually do that. And I really love how they've taken Clint, who in the MCU is a family man, and they've kind of just like adapted him to this in a way that actually works. So a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the pacing. I'm enjoying seeing the tracksuit mafia, pizza dog. The humor is really good. These guys are kind of they're heroes, but they're kind of fumbling it, and I'm okay with that. Like that's the tone from the comics, and I'm definitely happy that they have kind of taken that. That was one of the better pieces of lore that they could have adapted. However, move on to a slightly different tack here. Um, there are many fans, many MCU fans who are boycotting Hawkeye, and I get why they're doing it. They are upset, and I am too, that they're using the visual style and elements that David Aja employed in the Hawkeye comic book. Those stories, they are drawing very heavily, not just narratively, but in terms of their imagery, in terms of just kind of the overall aesthetic. That's all David Aja. And I was watching the credits, the intro credits to this show. I didn't see the end credits, so maybe he's there, but doesn't look like it. But people are upset that David Aja is getting no credit for the role that he played in basically in this show. Like he didn't play any part directly, but it's his aesthetic and Matt Fraction's narrative that they are using as the basis for much of the narrative that's driving Hawkeye. So I understand that, and I support those who are making that decision. I will not be making that decision, but I will be talking about it because even though, full disclosure, I own one share of Disney stock, I want people to know that Disney continues to have a problem appropriately compensating and crediting the originators of this kind of material. So I think this is a newsworthy item, and I think it's definitely worth talking about, even if I am going to continue to watch the show. All right, moving on. Yes. Okay, so Ghostbusters Afterlife. Oh, God. Okay, so Ghostbusters Afterlife premiered on, what was it, November 18th, 19th? And I was one of the first people to see it when it came out. Saw it that Thursday night. And I'm going to try to make this as spoiler-free as possible. In one phrase, I loved it. It was a very touching tribute to the original. It was a very good kind of update, a worthy sequel, especially for a sequel that's like 30 years after the last part. They pay tribute to the original material in a way that consistently kind of tugs at your heartstrings, especially if you've seen this stuff. I grew up with it, so I'm gonna fully cop to being biased in my view of this movie. And again, without spoiling it, I will say this: there was at least one or two parts that are, that'll make you cry. If you know, you know. And essentially, I really want there to be more that grows from this movie. Now, it is definitely not as good as the original, and I don't think anything is probably ever going to be. And honestly, I think that's fine. I really think that the original was kind of it was lightning in a bottle in kind of the way that, the creation of Spider-Gwen a few years ago in the comic books. That was a lightning in a bottle moment that I happened to be around to view in real time and go, oh, this is something special. Um, I feel like Ghostbusters in 1984 was a similar type of cultural phenomenon. And now with Afterlife, they have basically kind of taken that story, and it the stakes don't feel as high, even though in some ways they get repeated. That has something. Hold on, let me get the mumbles out here. Okay, there we go. That has a little bit to do with the setting. It also has more to do with the focus of the film. Um, the focus of the original Ghostbusters movie is it was a comedy with some scary elements. This is less of a comedy, it's more of a family focused kind of like narrative. And it's, I mean, part of what you're doing is you're revisiting a lot of threads from the original movies, and then, kind of bringing them into the present, updating them and showing what's happened. Afterlife does that, and it does it fairly well. But you'll notice, like, if you're going in expecting you know, uh, an exact kind of how to phrase that. If you're expecting to feel the way that the original movie made you feel, that's not going to happen. This is a different type of movie, and I think it does what it's supposed to do fairly well. I'm definitely going to go see this again. I'm definitely going to, add this movie to my collection in whatever way I can. And I highly recommend it. And hopefully, if you guys have seen it, you love it. And if you haven't seen it, you'll see it soon, and you'll love it. All right. So, in video game news, earlier this month, probably about 2 weeks ago, The Elder Scrolls Skyrim turned 10 years old. I still can't believe that. Skyrim, as you're going to find out in the next segment, is one of those video games that I just keep returning to every so often, and I'll probably never beat it. And I do so because it's still a very pretty game. I think so, at least. Other people don't, but I think it's a great game. Well, it turned 10 on, I think it was November 11th, and they have released an anniversary edition, which if you don't have it, you basically pay 50, $60 for it. I'm not going to do that. But if you already own Skyrim, like, I have it on Steam, then I think you have the option of going in and downloading the anniversary update for about $20, which, I don't know. We'll see. It's one of those things that I'm of two minds about, because it's like, yeah, I like Skyrim. I don't know if I want to necessarily, pay another $20 for it, because I'm sure I've purchased the game on more than one platform. But as you can see in this little picture here, we can see we can see that the character in question is riding a unicorn. I got to admit, that's pretty cool. Now, there are probably other games where I can find and ride a unicorn where I don't have to shell out an extra $20. Skyrim kind of holds a special place in my heart, so I'm undecided on that. And if you're a Skyrim fan, hopefully you are as well. So we shall see. But yeah, Skyrim, 10 years old. I still cannot quite believe it. I'll say it again. Still cannot. All right, and that brings us to the end of the pop culture roundup. So again, if you guys enjoy this, if you have suggestions for headlines, topics, anything that you want to talk about during the pop culture roundup, just bring it up. Let me know. And also, if you have something that you want to suggest that I get a little bit more involved in, feel free to post the topic suggestions in my Discord channel. I've just gone ahead and put the link in the chat. So if you guys haven't already joined my Discord, please feel free to do so. I am trying to build a community. And yeah, so hopefully see you there. We're going to go ahead and stop the recording for this segment right now. And we're going to get into the pop culture deep dive in a moment here. So give me a second. I'm going to kill off those browsers because I don't need them right now. And so in this segment, you guys are going to see the results of my tendency to procrastinate. Because what I would have done if I had gotten everything done that I wanted to is I would have had some video footage that plays over me while I'm talking about some of these specific games. And I've got 2 of them, so we'll talk about those. But there was a third that I wanted to have, Stardew Valley. And when I started when I started exporting the videos, they took way too long, and I was already about to go live, and it was just like, okay, all right. And so hopefully, I'll show you guys a couple of these things as we get started. But before we do that, I am going to take a couple of minutes. I'm going to go ahead and use the restroom real quick. We're so far running at about an hour and 12 minutes, so we're doing pretty good. We're doing a lot better than I normally do. So we're going to take like 2-3 minutes. I'm going to go use the restroom, get a glass of water because my throat is becoming parched, and we'll be back in just a few. So hold on 1 second. I thought I had to be right back. I'm going to go ahead and put the pre-show up, and I'll see you guys in just a second. So hold on. Okay, there we go. All right, so thank you for allowing me that break. I really appreciate it. And let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and hit the record button. And we're going to get started with the pop culture deep dive. Now, the pop culture deep dive is just a section of the show where I talk about some aspect of pop culture that I am really particularly interested in, and we just take a bit of a deep dive. And so today's pop culture deep dive was suggested to me actually by one of my regular teens at my library. He said, Tony, that's my real name, so it's Tony. Anyways, he's like, so Tony, something you should do, talk about is, like video games that you really like. And I was like, I mean, that's a good topic. It's pretty broad. I like a lot of video games. So I started thinking about it, and I'm like, there are certain kinds of video games that I like that I'm probably never gonna finish. And so that's what today's pop culture deep dive is about. Games that I just can't quit, but I'm probably never gonna finish them. And there's a lot of them out there, and I play quite a few of them. video games are just something that I grew up with as a kid. I had an Atari 2600 when I was like a tot. And, video games were just in my household from a very early age. And I really actually kind of enjoy them as a pastime. And of course, there are so many video games out there in the world these days that it's impossible to keep up. So one of the categories that I really like visiting is, just trying to figure out what video games have a particular bent to them that I can really get into. And I'm going to take a second. I'm just going to make sure that I can find the correct folder, because what I want to do is I want to put on the screen a couple of these video games that I really like, that I'm probably, again, like, I either can't or just won't finish them, but I also can't run away from them either. Like, I might go away from them for like 6 months at a time, and then you come back and you're like, I think I want to start a new character on Skyrim. I mean, like something like that, So let me see. I've got 2 videos that I can show you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and get them ready. But basically, I've got 4 games that I would have liked to go into kind of depth for. I've got 4 games that I would have liked to go in depth on for this segment. But it looks like we're really just going to do like 2 of them. And then I'll talk a little bit about the others. So the first one that I'm going to talk about as I get this ready is a little game that some of you may or may not be familiar with. Stardew Valley. How many people here play that game? How many people here like that game? Stardew Valley is not a game that I thought I was gonna like. Someone had recommended it to me. It was a friend, and I was just like, I don't like farming. I don't care about this. Stardew Valley is a lot of fun. Stardew Valley is one of the most relaxing games that I have ever played. And I mean, when your whole entire goal is to just kind of go in, water your crops, and then come back and harvest them a few days later. I mean, you can do more than that. You can do mining, you can do fishing, you can go into the cave and fight some of the monsters there. It has a lot for a bunch of different people. But, and you can really kind of hyper focus on what you want to do. There's no real end game to it. Like I guess there is like a 100% perfect completion. I've seen articles that something like that exists, but if you don't get it, it's not a big deal. And a lot of people have raised the question of whether or not it's even worth it. But yeah, Stardew Valley is a wonderful, wonderful game. So, all right, let's see. Diablo is not about that Stardew life, but he's ready to love Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm guessing. I have not played that yet. I do want to play it. Noir says that's the game everyone's girlfriend plays. I mean, to be fair, my fiance's played it. I don't think she plays it as much as I do, though, and I don't play it that often, but I do come back to it really regularly. So, anyways, let me see. I am going to see if I can put. Nope, that is the wrong folder. Give me just a second. We're almost there. But yeah, Stardew. Stardew is a really relaxing game that has a surprising amount of depth. I'm really excited for Concerned. Was it Concerned Gorilla? I think, or Concerned Ape. I can't remember the developer's name. Anyways, he is basically working on he's working on not a sequel to Stardew Valley, but he's working on what is essentially a spiritual successor, and it's called Haunted Chocolatier, which I believe the hold on. I believe the... Let's see if this does not work. Okay, all right. Well, we just may have to create a different file for it. Concerned Ape. Is that an NFT? No, no, that's the name of the developer. So, I mean, it could be an NFT. There are so many NFTs out there in the world these days, you never know. But give me a second, and what I'm going to do is we're going to take the video of the next game, and I will talk about it as we as we move on. So, but yeah, no, as when I say Concerned Ape, which I'm pretty sure that's the name, I'm talking about the developer of Stardew Valley. So let me go ahead and add a quick window capture. It put it at the top. Of course, it put it at the top because you know this tool has no concept of privacy. All right, so give me just a second to work on that. Oh, ape NFTs are everywhere? I had no idea. That's kind of hilarious. All right, let's see. And yeah, okay, fine. We're just going to do the display capture. All right, so the next game that I absolutely cannot leave behind and probably will never complete is one that I've already covered this evening. That, of course, is The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. 10-year-old game, and I mean, I've tried doing the story quest, and essentially, it's not a particularly terrible quest, but according to most people, it appears to be one of the most boring parts of the game. And the thing about Skyrim is that it is so huge and expansive that while you're doing quests, it's really easy to just get distracted by, hey, what's that thing over there? I'm going to go and check it out. And so one of my favorite things to do is I will create a character in Skyrim and I will play him for a while, and then I will get bored and I will just create a new character in Skyrim from scratch. And we'll just go and do the missions all over again. And again, I keep playing the game. I never get to the end of it because there is just so much to do. And one of the things that I like doing is going into the various like strongholds and bandit camps. And if I'm lucky, I'll get to go ahead and just like one-shot the occasional bandit or two. I also do some of the story quests. I will go and try to get some of the Thunes so that I can do the Dragon Shout powers and things like that. But darn it if this isn't just a really fun game where you can just kind of craft your own character and largely do whatever you want with it. You know, you can just kind of travel the land, do what you want. You can go to a college and become a wizard. You can go to a college and become a bard. You can become an assassin. And you can just, go out and complete all of the missions in all of the various ways. And it's a lot of fun. And that is just one of my favorite moments when you get a cinematic, whenever you one-shot something. It's just a lot of fun because it's just kind of one of those moments where you feel like you're a real badass. And I don't know, I really love that kind of thing. So, but yeah, Skyrim, great game, lots of fun. And again, probably never going to complete it, but I'm going to keep playing it because it's just that much fun. All right, and then finally, let me see. Well, not finally. We're going to talk about the next game. Oh, this game I actually couldn't make any videos about because I can't hook it up to my computer in any way. Has anyone in here played not Final Fantasy X or what, like any of the later Final Fantasy games. No, no, no. Final Fantasy 1, the original Final Fantasy. Anyone in here ever played that game? Because that was the first Final Fantasy game I ever played, and really it's kind of the only one that I have really tried to complete. I actually have a copy of Final Fantasy for the Game Boy Advance. It's like Final Fantasy 1 and 2, Dawn of Souls. And it's one of those games that I keep coming back to every so often. And again, I like to start from the beginning. I'll play it really intensively for a few weeks, and then, I'll stop because I get busy or what have you. But that's a fun one because it's one of the very first, like, RPGs where you have like multiple people and you're on one side, your enemy's on the other side during a battle, and everyone just goes in and does their fight bit and everything. It's one of the first. I believe it's one of the first like JRPGs. I could be wrong about that, so don't hold me to it. But it definitely has that old school aesthetic that would make you think, it could be. So, anyways, for the final game we are gonna talk about a fairly recent game that I've really come to enjoy. One of my buddies bought me Subnautica on Steam recently. This is a great game. It kind of reminds me of Minecraft in that you are doing a lot of building, a lot of constructing, but it's definitely got there's a lot more emphasis kind of on the survival part of it. Like there are survival elements in Minecraft if you select survival mode, just like I did here. But in this game, there's kind of more of a story to it. You are in you start off in a life pod that's in the ocean on a planet where your ship has crash landed. And the ship is pretty much lost. I mean, it's there in the background if it pop up out of water. But it's flooded with radiation, everybody's dying, and you basically need to kind of traverse the ocean. You have to keep yourself alive. So you have to basically harvest like the fish and the flora and the fauna to create items in the kind of little replicator that your pod has. And you can use that to build bigger facilities and things like that. A lot of fun. It's a great game, and especially if you like Minecraft. There is I kind of feel like there is a bit of it kind of goes with the survival aspect of it. There's a little bit of kind of a refrigerator horror element to this game in that the sea is vast and there are many dark parts of it. There are lots of big creatures in here. And I've actually seen like people who have modded this game to put H.P. Lovecraft's great old ones here in the ocean where, they are allegedly from in a lot of ways. And yeah, I mean, you are, after all, the survivor of a crash. This is, for all intents and purposes, a fairly hostile planet. You can actually, you can breathe on it, and the water is comparable to Earth, but I mean, like, the flora and fauna are not, and you have to kind of figure out how to survive. And so you're, in a lot of ways, pitting yourself against these great big creatures that you have to, I mean, there are very few, aside from like the fish, there's very few things that you can actually kill. So you have to kind of like just survive. And Hail to the Geeks was asking, what the hell was that weird glowing tail manatee? That is a thing that leaves, like, I call them these little stink pods, because that's what they look like to me. But if you're around those things when they explode, it's like you take damage. So I don't know if it's like some kind of a poison gas or an acid or something. But yeah, you don't want to be around those. Anyways, Subnautica, yet another game that is extremely good that I've really enjoyed. I really appreciate my buddy who purchased this for me. he was just like, you haven't played this? Here. And it was apparently really cheap because he just went ahead and bought it for me. And suddenly I had it in my account, so I started playing it. And 4 or 5 hours later, I'm like, wow, where did the time go with this game? So this is a fun game. A lot of crafting, a lot of survival elements, and as you'll see right here, I've taken some of the things that I've gotten while I was out, and it's like I'm going to go ahead and craft some things that I need in this little fabricator. I think I craft a bunch of water from some of the fish that have properties that allow them to be kind of, you're killing the fish and making them into, like, I think this is a bladder fish, so it's got a bladder that you can use to, I guess it filters out natural water. So with the fabricator, you can just kind of get that, and then you have to create food, so you can use the fabricator to cook some of the fish, and then there's a little food kind of energy indicator, so you have to replenish that every so often. So it has a lot of interesting elements to it, and again, just this was a fun game. This is just one of those games that I have found myself playing for long stretches of time, like hours at a time. Then I'll just go away for like weeks or months, and then I'll come back to it and I'm like, ah, yes, let's continue. Or sometimes I'll just start over. Again, there are lots of games out there that are like this, and I don't know, like, I mean, some of these games, they have an ending, so you could make the claim that yes, they're meant to be played to completion. But really, I think for many of these types of games, that's really not the point. The point is to just play the game and enjoy the game. And I think that the four games that I've spoken about, so Final Fantasy, Stardew Valley, Skyrim, and Subnautica, they all kind of have that option. And I'm really kind of grateful for these kinds of games, because sometimes I get sick of grinding out Marvel Contest of Champions like day in, day out. And like if I finish an arena early, like I did earlier this week, I will just go ahead and stop, and I will take a couple of days and I'll log in and play Skyrim or Stardew Valley or something, and just kind of like play the game just for the enjoyment of playing the game. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this pop culture deep dive. This is Spidey Librarian, and we're going to go ahead and stop recording. Oh gosh. Oh, my apologies, guys. I hit the wrong button. Okay. No, the stream was not over. I'm sorry about that. What happened there was that the stop recording and the stop stream buttons are right next to each other. And so what happens is sometimes when I go to stop the recording, I hit the stop stream button, and I really wish that there was a little bit more of a differentiation that OBS had between them, but apparently it doesn't. And so sometimes I just make that mistake. That's on me. That's on me. So my apologies for that. I'm probably going to lose a couple of viewers for that, and that's mea culpa. So anyways, but Wolf, thank you for asking that question, because I didn't even realize that it happened. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. But in the meantime, yes. So we are on the final segment of the show, which is the viewer Q&A, and now I'm going to hit the start recording button again. And maybe I should just like I don't have the latest version of OBS, so I probably should download that. Maybe that'll help with that kind of thing in the future. So, but in the meantime, no, the stream is not over. I just screwed up. So I need to download the latest version of OBS, and if they don't have a good differentiation between the start and stop stream and recording buttons, I think I need to write them and be like, guys, for a quality of life thing, could you maybe like put the stream button over on the left side of the interface and the record button on the right, or I don't know. Anyways, but thank you to Wolf for catching that and going, hey, what happened? So I sometimes do that. My apologies. Okay, all right. So we are on the viewer Q&A. This is the part of the stream where you guys can ask me any questions that you want. They can be reference questions that I'll try to kind of like do an actual reference librarian search and see if I can find the answer for you. It can be a personal question, not too personal, of course. And yeah, what you think my opinions are about something or this or that. So to start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up in the chat. And let's see, the first question that someone asked was Apis Ben Senin. He always seems to kind of pop onto the stream and he's like, hey, what t-shirt are you wearing? Can you stand up and show us? So, and I don't do this. Like, this isn't me putting someone up to it. Someone is genuinely curious about the Spider-Man shirts that I'm wearing. So, as you guys can see, I'm wearing a Spider-Man Funko Pop shirt. This was acquired for me by my fiance probably a few months ago. And amusingly enough, this shirt is like, I think it's the largest child size that you can get. Which my fiance thinks is perfect because she thinks that I'm a big kid. And I'm really not one to argue. So anyways, thank you for the question, Apis Ben Senin. I really appreciate them, and I appreciate that you coming on like every episode and being like, hey, what shirt you wearing? Can you show us this time? So it's always fun to do that. So thank you. All right, so let's see. Anything else? Let's see. Leia Rose was on here. Hey, how you doing? I'm sorry, I got so into the other segments I didn't see that you had popped on. So let's see. Boba is old Spider. Boba's not as young as he was. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Mandalorian and therefore the Book of Boba Fett kind of take place in kind of roughly the same time period that the original Heir to the Empire books would have been set. So, yeah, Boba is definitely he's older. He has to deal with the fact that he spent time in a Sarlacc, which I don't know how that would affect him in the new canon. So, but yeah, he's definitely got to he's definitely leveled up in some ways, and he could have been crippled in others. And I'm interested to see how that manifests itself in the Book of Boba Fett. Hail to the Geeks is asking, when is the last time I wore a non-Spidey t-shirt? Actually, I wore a non-Spidey t-shirt about 3 days ago, and it was a Legend of Zelda shirt. And I wore it, I think because I was just laying around the house all day. But it's this gray Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild shirt that has Link on it. It's a beautiful shirt. It's a great shirt. And but I just don't wear these things very often. I might have it around. If I can find it, I'll show you. Hold on. Give me like 30 seconds here. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. I found it. Okay. So, but yes, it is gray toned. It is gorgeous, and it's got this nice art of Link on it from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And there he is right there. This is this is a shirt. It's actually I think it's a size like large or something. It's a little bit big on me. This is a medium? Wow. Must be smaller than I thought. So, but yeah, it's a shirt that that someone gave me that I was like, "Ooh, this is really nice. I'll probably wear it at some point," and I have. So, All right, laying around the house, you can't be seen in public without your. You know what? I have a brand I gotta represent. I just do. I do. I gotta stay on brand. I'm the Spidey Librarian, So, but yeah, no, it's just one of those things. I really do like wearing Spider-Man T-shirts and little my Spider-Man hoodies. Like if I zip this sucker up, it's God. I've had this thing forever, but like yeah, I gotta represent. I do what I do what I do. You know, so all right. Anyone else have any questions? Anything that you would like to know about me? Any reference questions? You know, must have been that Tony guy who looks a lot like I maybe I don't know. Could be. I don't think I've ever met him. Anyways, um, so I have a question for you guys, and honest answers only, please. But do you guys have any do you guys have any thoughts about kind of like I don't know other kinds of content that you would like to see me doing? Like one thing I started doing recently is I started working out again using my Switch. I got out the Wii or not the Wii, the fitness boxing game, and I started doing workouts on them again. Exhausting as hell, but like, I mean, I need the exercise. So, but it like, I mean, I could try to record those like on the daily. I don't know how interesting that would be, but like it could be me kind of promoting exercise and fitness and stuff like that. Um, but I mean, like, if you guys think there's anything I'd be particularly well suited to do, I would definitely love to hear. So, do I have an opinion about Christmas stuff set up before Thanksgiving? Yes, it's wrong. Christmas, if there is a war on Christmas, and I post this meme every October, and if I had access to it right now, I would put it up. Maybe I can, if you guys give me a second. But there's a meme that I post every October, and it's basically the idea that if there is a war on Christmas, let's all recognize that it's probably Halloween responding in defense of Thanksgiving. Um, like, and I think that's a great way to look at it because Christmas stuff seems to come out earlier and earlier every dang year, and I don't understand why that's a thing. So, I do think I have found it. Let me see if I can grab it real quick. But yeah, no, I basically do not think stuff that represents Christmas or really any December holiday should be out before Thanksgiving. Like it's like no, give Thanksgiving its time. Damn it. You know? So working out with the Spidey Librarian. I mean, it's a thing that I could do. Like if I can get myself up early enough, and I like to sleep in, but I could do the workout before I go to work every day. I don't know. It's like one nugget of an idea. I'm not married to it by any stretch. Like I'm not exactly enthusiastic about showing people my out of shape rear end trying to sweat and get fit, but like I guess it's just kind of my way of asking like do you guys have any ideas, like hopefully something better than that. So but yeah, let me go ahead and see if I can find this image real quick and just show it to you guys. It is should be over here. Go, and where is it? Tiny, and I need over the webcam, and let me go ahead. See, this is an image that I post every October. All right, and so it's this dude who looks like one of my fraternity brothers. It's not him. I've asked him, but like he's basically standing like he's a teacher in front of a chalkboard, and you can see that there's Thanksgiving in the middle, and you can see like a front for Halloween and then a front for Christmas. And underneath it, it says, if there is a war on Christmas, let's recognize it's probably by Halloween responding in defense of Thanksgiving. Christmas is the clear aggressor. Yeah, I know it's blurry, but let me see. Yeah, even if I enlarge it, it's not going to be very good. But I'll try to find a I'll try to find a better, higher resolution image of this for another time. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, you know, Thanksgiving stuff needs to be out up until Thanksgiving. You know, I won't penalize like the Christmas lights too much, but if someone's breaking them out like more than a week before Thanksgiving, that's wrong. And really, like, it has to be the stuff that's kind of understated, like the white Christmas lights or something. Not these full on house displays or anything. That's just wrong. So I don't know. All right, guys, and you know, I'm basically kind of at your mercy here for questions. But if we're done, if there are no more questions, then we can go ahead and just end the segment tonight. I'm trying to think, based on everyone's questions, my next corner of the thumbnail, the upper left corner where I have the viewer Q&A. I don't know. I might have to put a bunch of T-shirts in there because that's what the questions were about. Apis Bensenens, he was asking about my Spider-Man T-shirt, and then Hail to the Geeks was asking, well, what about non-Spider-Man T-shirts? So, all right, Wolf. What are your thoughts about digital comics? Could they potentially replace print or save the comics industry if they start to lose profitability? Um, it's funny because in Ghostbusters, uh, Janine asks Egon if he reads, and he responds, "Print is dead." And we can see 30 years later that print is definitely not dead. Egon was quite wrong about that. And honestly, I think that digital comics are a great supplement to comic book readers. Um, for readers and collectors such as myself, I would, I definitely like collecting the actual comic books and having them to hold on to. And so I think there's something to be said for the artifact. Now, I think that having an extra delivery method is not a bad thing, especially if you have the ability to access them, again later. I actually do subscribe to what is it, Marvel Unlimited, Marvel's digital comics app. I mean, I love that thing because I can go back and read a significant portion of Marvel's digital library, which goes all the way back to the 1960s. So, digital comics, there's definitely something to be said for them as a medium. I don't know that they're ever going to replace the print comics. I think that they will occupy a significant space alongside them. And yeah, if the industry becomes stagnant, if they start losing profitability, I could see digital comics being very low overhead, and so that could help out in a significant way. But I mean, we've still got print newspapers. Lots of people prefer print newspapers, and I'm not just talking like the elderly or those who are considered to be like Luddites or anything like that. I mean, lots of people just genuinely prefer to have an actual artifact, a physical artifact that they can, that they can read, that they can flip around. And I get it. I understand that. And I think for that reason, print comics will never completely go away. I do think that print comics are not going to be necessarily as important as they used to be. And I'm not sure what effect that will have on their status as physical and artifactual items. It could be that they could drive up prices because there will be fewer editions printed of print comic books. By the same token, people might have access to the stories, and that alone might be a reason that could just drive the value of print down, because maybe accessing stories in that way makes it so that, the full appeal of the original artifact isn't as strong as it used to be. So it's one of those questions that I think, I actually did, uh, I didn't lead a panel on this at a Comic Con a few years ago. I was on a panel where I had talked about it and everything, but I thought that at the time, that digital was just kind of one of those things that, yes, it's nice, it's pretty, but I don't think it's going to make a big difference to comic readers and comic collectors. And I was wrong about that. Like, readers have taken to digital; they do like it. But there's still a whole bunch of both readers and collectors out there in the market, and I don't know. I think that core is going to remain fairly strong for years to come, if not decades. Of course, I could be wrong. You never know. So, but in my opinion, in my semi-professional opinion, I think that digital is here to stay, but print's not going anywhere either. Thank you for coming to my TED. Thank you for the question, Wolf. I appreciate it. All right. Anyone got anything else? I am happy to answer what I can. So please feel free to ask, and I will do what I can. And we are at 10:23 right now. This may be one of the shortest episodes of the Spidey Librarian Action Hour that I have ever made. So I gotta say that's pretty cool. And it is because I'm putting more intention into being quick about these things. So but I definitely appreciate, you guys sticking around, you guys coming up with questions to ask me, and things like that. It really makes doing this a lot more fun. So thank you guys very much for that. All right, well, I don't see any more questions, so I'm going to go ahead and call the stream for tonight. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I'm going to go ahead one more time and throw the Discord invite link into the chat, so that for any of you who are not on my Discord server, you can go ahead and click that link and become part of the Spidey Librarian Discord server. If you guys have any ideas for extra channels that I could create for you, or if you have any questions about what I do or suggestions for content, you can always just drop those things into the Discord. And I've got a general chat, I've got announcements, things like that. So feel free to drop in. And yeah, my goal here is to create a community. I want to have a space where people who watch the show can kind of hang out and talk to each other, bond, commiserate, whatever you want to do. So in the meantime, I'm gonna get going. Thank you guys again for hanging out with me tonight. This has been fun. It always is. And let me go ahead and stop the recording now. Not the stream this time, just the recording. All right. And thank you guys again. Have a good evening. This is Spidey Librarian. And my next show is going to be next Sunday. My next stream will be on Twitch this Tuesday. I'll be streaming some Marvel Contest of Champions gameplay. And for the next show, I will be talking about video game history for the Discovery, Learn, Create segment, and then for I think the pop culture deep dive, I don't remember what that's going to be. So, anyways, I'll let you guys know, and I'll try to get the thumbnail out hopefully by Wednesday this week. So, but until then, you guys have a good evening. And I will see you around either next Sunday or out on Twitch on Tuesday. So until my next stream or upload, this is Spidey Librarian wishing you guys a good rest of the evening. Good night.